So I want to welcome each one of you to Healing Hypertension. My name is Carolyn Nichol. I am a certified holistic nutritionist, and I have been studying and working in a practical manner for more than a decade with clients with high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, psoriasis, eczema, digestion issues, cancer, and we have had an incredibly high success rate at helping people with all health issues. And how do we do this? We simply put your body back into balance using natural methods and food as your medicine. But I really believe that part of healing is to allow your body to naturally go back into balance. And this happens when you actually feed it right and treat it right and create the proper conditions for the body to actually be in balance and heal. And so it's very, very important that we are creating the right environment and the right conditions. So with that being said, I want to show you today about hypertension. And hypertension, which is also known as high blood pressure, this is basically when the pressure we'll look at it in a minute, but let's look at it right now. So the whole issue with high blood pressure is that, very simply, when the heart beats, it creates pressure that pushes the blood through the arteries, the veins, and the capillaries. So this happens throughout our entire body. And so the pressure is measured of how hard the heart pumps to get it out and how hard the second force is the diastolic pressure, which is created when the heart is resting between beats. So basically how hard it is to come out and how hard it is to get back through. And so this is very, very important, because your doctor would be able to tell what the issue is by looking at the two numbers, okay? So it's very important that we know what those two numbers are. And so with that being said, is that there's a few things that we need to know. And I'm just gonna So what I want you guys to see here is just very simply is that there's certain medications that are given, but not a lot of us understand what these medications are for and why we've been given them. So there's different types of medications depending whether you have high diastolic numbers or systolic numbers, or whether or not you are having blood clotting in your system, whether you have high cholesterol. So your doctor makes that judgment call. So basically, you might be on some kind of drug that ends in pril. Okay, so this is usually an ACE inhibitors. So these help to relax the blood vessels. And basically, if your doctor suspects that we're having issues in your body and your blood pressure is high, which we'll talk about in a minute, the main reasons for high blood pressure, and your blood vessels are maybe being clogged, maybe you have some plaque forming in there. So it's most likely that they might help you have an ACE inhibitor for this situation. And the reason is that they want your blood vessels to relax and dilate, because it's possible that the blood vessels are narrowing. So benazepril, or there's probably about, I think there's about 6 or 7 different medications that end. So they're pretty much all the same from different manufacturers. Now there's another one, so which is similar, but it's an ARB. So it's the receptor 2 blocker, and this medicine, you'll see that most drugs end in SARTAN. So some sort of sartan drug. A very popular one, of course, is the candesartan drug. So that one is popular. And that also, again, is helping our suspicion that it's suspected, it's very possible that we also have a blockage or a narrowing of the blood vessels. So that is also a medication that might be given. Now, it's also very possible that they might suspect a heart condition, that your heart is not strong enough. And so then you might be given some sort of a calcium channel blocker, because this will help not only the heart and arteries to relax, but it will make the heart not have to pump so hard to get the blood pressure out. So it will help to relax the heart, because the heart is in a little bit of trouble here. So that will be your drugs ending in pine. So amlodipine, felodipine. So there's a number of them. Again, there's probably about 9 or 10 different drugs that fall into this category. And then you might end up having bisoprolol. Now it is a beta blocker, and this helps the heart beat slower with less force. So that's why different people are on different medications. Now you might be on 3 or 4 different high blood pressure medications. And if that's the case, then that's because your doctor may have used one, but you know what? It's still having trouble. The blood pressure is still going up. So this is still creating an issue. I think your heart's in trouble as well. So they could put you on a number of drugs. All of these medications do have side effects, serious side effects, actually, from digestion issues to muscle spasms. Some people have nervous system disorders. So there are side effects for all of these, including blood clotting, bone deterioration, and we'll look at all of that in a minute. Now, you might also you might have been given a water pill. So what is a diuretic, and how does that work? And why would we need this? So diuretics cause the kidneys to remove extra water and salt from the body, but this also will pull out potassium as well. So here's what I want you guys thinking. I definitely did not bring you into this seminar just so that I can, talk to you about different drugs and what you should be taking or should not be taking, and help you self-diagnose yourself, because that is definitely not what I'm doing. What I want you to see is that, what is the cause? What's the reason why I need to be on amlodipine or a bisoprolol? Why do I have to be on these different medications? What is the underlying issue, and how can we fix it? So that's really what I want to get across to you today, is to understand that medication is serious. And of course, if you have high blood pressure, that's as serious as a heart attack. So it has to be resolved. But there are natural ways to do it. And I'm not recommending that anybody comes off their medication, but if you can change your diet, and if you can ascertain the cause, why is my heart weak? Why is it pumping way too hard? Why do I have extra fluid in my system? Why does my doctor want to pull out? Because there's too much water fluid happening inside your cells, inside your veins, inside your arteries. There's too much water pooling. Why is that? And why do we need a diuretic? Why do I need a water pill to flush that out? Because the water volume is too high and it's putting too much pressure on the heart. So you may be on a water pill, plus you may be on a medication. There's got to be a reason why the body's holding on to water and salt. And why wouldn't this water go inside the cells or be urinated out? Why is it holding on to it inside the blood vessels? So this becomes a real issue that I want to help you, and hope that I can help you resolve today. So with that being said, is that we have to look at a couple things. Remember what I said is that there are side effects for all medications. So what I want you guys to see today is that, I'm sorry if this is a little blurry, but what I want you guys to see and understand is that, remember what we said on the previous slide. is that a water pill will cause the kidney to remove extra water and salt from the body, but it also pulls potassium. When you're on water pills for an extremely long time, I want you guys to understand something, that 65% of your bone tissue is inorganic minerals. That's how bones become hard. And what is important for you to know is that the bone minerals that are found inside your bone are calcium, phosphorus, protein, magnesium, sodium, and potassium. Citrate ions are also present as well. 30% of bones are water. So what's happening here? What's happening is you're pulling water, sodium, and potassium from the body. Where's your body getting all of that water, sodium, and potassium? Unfortunately, being on water pills for long periods of time can then eventually lead into some sort of osteoporosis condition, arthritis, osteoarthritis. It's very serious because your body starts robbing these minerals from your system, and it starts robbing water as well. But your doctor is trying to help you because the water's pooling in your system and it's not going inside your cells. So this becomes an issue as well. Why is your body holding on to this much water that we'd have to get you on a water pill? There's lots of underlying conditions, but the majority of the population, the issue is very, very, very similar. So the other thing is that you might have a high blood pressure condition because there's too much clotting happening in your blood. And if there's too much clotting happening into your blood, this can be dangerous. And so now you might be also on a blood thinner, an anticoagulant. So that's, of course, going to help you not have a heart attack or a stroke. But I want you to know and understand, friends, that having your body be able to make blood clots is extremely important. Anytime you have an abrasion, this is your body's natural way of being able to heal you. So this is very, very important. So if your body is trying to heal you, what's going to be important is that your body does create this coagulation of blood vessels. Very important that your body does blood clots. If you cut your finger, your body's going to create a blood clot. Your signals, your hormones will send a signal to your body to begin to pool blood in the area. It's going to create a gelling effect so that you're not leaking blood all the time. Now, what happens inside the human body, in our blood vessels, in our arteries, in our veins, what happens here is that it's very simple. So I just fixed the camera there, I apologize. It's very simple, but what's happening is that we have abrasions inside our blood vessels. And your body has to do the same thing. Not every cut is something visible and something you can see. So there are abrasions many times inside the blood vessels, and the body does the exact same thing. It is now trying to heal those abrasions by creating blood clots. Very important part of healing. But you can imagine what a scab looks like on the outside of the skin. Something very similar on the inside of the body. And that can create an issue because, of course, if you have a blood vessel, that blood has to travel through in order to get to the heart and all through the body. But now you have an abrasions, your body has created a Band-Aid over it. So now we have these issues. There's going to be a barrier in the way as that blood is passing through. It's not a clean pathway, and that's where trouble comes. Now, imagine you have a clot that actually moves into the bloodstream because we're clotting on the inside of the body. Now that blood clot has, first of all, once you have resolved the issue, your body usually will tell your system, break down that blood clot now. It's time to break it down. and there's enough water and a good blood viscosity happening so your body can do that. The problem is that when that blood clot does not get broken down and then it moves through the bloodstream, now we're in big trouble. So what's the answer, and what is the doctor going to do about this? Well, you may go on a blood thinner if you have any kind of history or suspect of having a blood clot. So if they don't dissolve as they should, they can move to areas and cause problems. So blood thinners, okay, blood thinners signal the body, so it starts to talk to your hormones. It signals the body to stop the formation of clots. It doesn't get rid of clots, but it stops your body from making clots. Now, warfarin is a vitamin K antagonist. It will actually stop your body from producing vitamin K in any great amounts. I don't know if you guys know this, but vitamin K is one of the main vitamins that are called to the site whenever there's an abrasion or a lesion in the body that needs clotting. So the problem with that is that many people that are on this drug, if they get cut, they could bleed profusely without having that clotting factor. In fact, any blood thinner is trying to slow down the blood clotting process so that you don't keep doing it. Well, here's the big question that I have, that I would ask: why is my blood clotting? That's the question of the day. Why am I having blood clots? Am I having abrasions inside of my body? And if I am, what's causing that? So, because the dangers of blood thinners are very serious. So why also is it that I'm having abrasions in my body? We're having this coagulation, so this blood clotting, and why is it moving without being dissolved? So those are the questions that I ask as a nutritionist. I don't know. Our medical system works very hard. I don't know why they don't always ask those questions, but instead will just give a medication. But I'd like to know, and I think you should know, why are these situations happening and what can I truly do to resolve these issues? Because that's what's ultimately important, is that we've got to ascertain the cause, friends. We've got to figure out what is the reason for all of this happening and how can I resolve it? So let's get to some good information of how we can resolve these issues, because it's extremely, extremely important that we know how to resolve all of these issues. And if you are just joining us, I just want to let you know that this is being recorded. So just advise that we keep our cameras off just until the end. And if you have any questions, please just throw them in the chat and I will answer them at the end of the seminar. So just so you know, for your information, these are some signs of blood clots happening in your system, because as the blood is pooling to an area, you might have pain or tenderness, swelling, or a warm feeling in one area because blood is very warm. You could have, if there's a blood clot in the brain, you could have issues with speaking, vision changes, sudden headache, dizziness. You could have chest pain or difficulty breathing if it's happening in the heart or the lungs. So my hope is that nobody is in any kind of situation where they might have a blood clot. I'm really hoping that that is not the case for anybody here. And if we can make some changes, I can never promise, but I am pretty sure that you could stay away from blood clotting. However, I just want you to also know that no matter what I'm saying today, as far as how you can reverse things, there's always a small percentage of population that has a genetic disorder for hypertension and for blood clotting. That might be that your hormones are off and they signal your body unnecessarily to create clots. So that's also very real. You'll learn next week as we do cholesterol, there's about 9% of the population whose body actually overproduces cholesterol. I can help you reduce the cholesterol, but I can't turn your liver off from doing that. So I just want you to know that there's always that small percentage with a genetic disorder. Now, your genetic disorder is not because your parents had high blood pressure. Now you have blood pressure, high blood pressure. It's my lot in life. No, it's not. That kind of genetics, that is not a hormone imbalance, is generally less than 10% of your issue. And epigenetics, which is actually a medical term, can turn off that 10%. So if you weren't born with it, friends, it absolutely should be able to be reversed. So let's get into understanding the human body and how we can actually resolve this issue. So we don't need to know all the medical terms, but I just want you to take a look at your blood vessels. These run throughout your entire body, incredible systems of arteries and veins that run through your entire body. We are just so incredibly wonderfully made. So there's different layers, and there's a reason why we have different layers. The reason why we have different layers, for many reasons, but for a main reason, is that there needs to be enough wiggle room and elasticity. So we need to make sure that your blood vessels are pliable and movable, and there's enough elastin that's flowing through them, some protein binders that come together very loosely that create this elastin. When you work out, your blood vessels expand. When you're breathing, your blood vessels expand. When you're moving around. But there's also other reasons why your blood vessels expand. So it's very important, as blood is being pumped from the heart through every single artery and vein, that there's enough elastin inside your arteries so that the blood flow can happen in a smooth, consistent way without any interruption. I mean, look at that. Imagine the tunnel system that just goes through your entire neighborhood so that your toilet flushes, their toilet flushes, everybody's tap goes, the shower goes, right? So you've got an incredible plumbing system that we never see that runs, but anything gets blocked. And I mean, those tunnels, you see them sometimes on the side of the road before they're going to put them underground. They're huge. Friends, our arteries and veins are not huge. They're not huge. So it's quite important understanding that a little bit of an interruption, a little bit of plaque on those arteries can create a major, major issue. So arteries will become stiff, and that is number one reason. So we were talking about the reasons why we might have high blood pressure. For those who might have missed it in the first place, missed it earlier, is that we talked about the different medications that your doctor may prescribe to you. So if your doctor is suspecting that your veins or your arteries are not as pliable and as they should be, then it's very possible you're going to fall into one category of medication to help to dilate your blood vessels, to open them up, because they're not opening up on their own. Why wouldn't your blood vessels open up on your own? You can imagine that your blood plasma is about 90% water. So if you're not drinking enough water, your blood is going to be super thick. If you've got plaque buildup, and we'll talk about what makes up plaque, if you've got even a little bit of plaque building up inside this artery, it's actually going to be stuck to the wall of your wonderful, pliable, elasticy arteries, and now it's not very elasticy. Now it's very stiff and it's not moving very well. Well, of course, there's lots of arteries and veins in the entire system, but most people, if you've got it in one place, you've probably got it in 5 or 10 places. It's not just one, because cholesterol buildup is actually quite sticky. And so it will stick to the artery walls. What happens when it sticks to the artery walls? Well, then we get abrasions because it's extremely irritating to have that stuck to an artery wall. And if we've got something that's extremely irritating, then we can create an abrasion. If we create an abrasion, as we talked about before, your body goes through the blood clotting situation. As it goes through the blood clotting situation, now it's also another problem. It's another problem because now, friends, we are going to be having a situation where your body has to create blood clotting, and you want to hope that it stays there. But if it moves, then that blood clot flows through the entire vein artery system, and we don't know where it's going to end up. But even if it stays, and now it's creating a barrier inside this system. And if there's a barrier inside here, how hard does the blood have to work to constantly get around it? Guess what that is? That is high blood pressure, because now your body needs more pressure to get through your veins and arteries. So if there's a plaque buildup, if there's an abrasion where your body had to create a quote unquote Band-Aid, that's what's going to cause high blood pressure. If you are having dehydration where your blood is really, really thick, then your body has to use more pressure to get the blood up to the heart or even out of the heart. And because the heart is a muscle, it needs a lot of water. And so if it's dehydrated, then the resting between the heartbeats, you are going to tell that there, or your doctor will tell that there's trouble there. If you have too many toxins in the system, and we're going to talk about that as well, but if there's too many toxins in the system that are also building up on your artery walls, then that again is creating barriers for your blood to go through. What I want you to picture inside your mind right now is I want you to picture, and I do appreciate that there are people from all over the world on the call today, which is really wonderful. But we're here in Canada, whatever highway you have, we have Highway 401, but whatever highway you have, I want you to picture it at 5 p.m., 5 p.m., okay? It's full of cars. So to get from point A to point B, which would normally without traffic take you about 10 minutes, it might take you 45. Picture it at 5 a.m. Still some cars on the road, but now you can get to your place in 10 minutes. This is the same thing with our arteries and our veins. If you've got so many toxins, if you've got plaque buildup, if you've got extra cholesterol that your liver just can't filter out, that means that your body's patching all of this fat wherever it can in your body. You might see your stomach growing, your arms growing, your legs growing. We've got way too much saturated fat in our body. Your blood is the transporter of all of that. You need clean blood. If we don't have good blood, we will not have good health. Your life is in the blood. So that 5 p.m. system inside your blood system, if there's too many toxins, the blood can't get through. If the blood can't get through, your body has to work very hard to get that blood up to the heart. And that's when we see an elevation of blood pressure. So again, the answer of the doctor is to help to dilate and constrict your blood vessels with medication. Well, that can be a problem because now you're overriding your body's natural ability and natural communication signals. You're actually creating a hormone imbalance because you are having something that is foreign to the human body override the communication messengers. It's a real problem because all it's doing is trying, which is good, is trying to get that blood up to the heart, but it's expanding your arteries and veins. If they're very stiff, that becomes a problem because if you've ever tried to bend something that's stiff, you might break it. So it's not really resolving the issue, but it's trying to save your life. But I would suggest that we figure out why we're having too many toxins and why that plaque is on there. Let's find out what that's made up of and let's get rid of it. because then you really resolve the issues. And I want to tell you something, that it doesn't matter what age you are, you can have good blood system, you can fix arteries and veins. But what I will also tell you is that sometimes scar tissue cannot be reversed. When you've created a very deep abrasion in your body, some scar tissue just can't be reversed. And so you really want to catch this before it becomes an issue. You can fix it and make it better and take out all of the inflammation that's in the area. But what you really want to do is try to avoid scar tissue. So let's look at this next slide. First of all, we talked about the plaque and the artery buildup. So that's building up on the arteries. So stiff arteries are one of the reasons for high blood pressure. Thick blood, your blood viscosity is very, very important, because if your blood is too thick, then that's a real issue. Dehydration is probably one of the number two issues. I will tell you what the number one issue is, which is next. So if you have too high cholesterol, those fatty substances floating through the blood is creating a thickness of blood, and too many sticky substances. Fat is very, very sticky. I'll tell you in a minute what else is sticky that fat sticks to, which is a positive thing. But also, folks, I want you to understand that high cortisol is a major issue. It makes the blood very thick, and it creates abrasions on your artery walls. What is cholesterol? What is cortisol coming from? Friends, that's nothing more than stress. When you're frustrated, when you are upset, when you are constantly in a place of not forgiving somebody or being angry with somebody, when you stay up too late, when you are not getting enough sleep, when you don't like your job, when you have deadlines to meet, cortisol is releasing. When you encounter a bear or a dog jumps in front of your car, yeah, your cortisol goes up too. But your body can deal with those if it's just a momentary situation. If you are constantly releasing cortisol through your blood vessels, we are going to have some serious thick blood. Toxic buildup is also another major issue for thickness of blood. When there's just way too many toxins and we are traveling on our highways at 5 p.m. at night rather than 5 a.m. in the morning, then you will see there's just way too much traffic. Look at this beautiful blood system. That's what it should look like. White blood cells, red blood cells. That's what it should be. Unfortunately, if we took a live blood analysis, you see debris, you see fat lipids, you see myocellular lipids, microscopic pieces of fat, and they're sticky and they stick to things. And you see lots of toxins floating around, and we see heavy metals floating around. Most of our blood system is a real problem. But I just want to tell you that it's fixable, but it does matter. It does matter what you put in your body every day. Your blood cells live for about 120 days. You can repair your body in 3 months. Give it 6 months and wow, a year, you're almost brand new. It's really incredible. I also want you to look at this last thing, is that longer travel distance is a big problem. So if you have put on too much weight on your body that's above what your body frame can handle, now your veins, your arteries, they're all stretched. Now your body has a much harder time. Your heart has to work very hard because now it has to pump blood through a much greater diameter. And so that longer travel distance is very exhausting for your heart, and your blood has to stretch throughout all of those veins and arteries. So that's a real problem too. So let's just look at this plaque on your artery walls. It's made up, the plaque that's on your artery walls is made up of substances that I think that we are all very familiar with. So It's made up of deposits of fatty substances like.
High blood pressure.
Okay.
I'm going to just ask
No,
all the
this is about
questions
health.
at the end, okay, if that's possible. So the plaque on your artery walls are made up of fatty substances like cholesterol, cellular waste products. So friends, remember that I said that your cells live and die in about 120 days. So since that's the case, your wonderful spleen is there to get rid of a cellular waste. That's what it's there for. And so that cellular waste, remember, your blood system is the highway for transportation of almost everything. So when that cellular waste is supposed to go to the spleen, if there's sticky substances like too much cholesterol hanging out, or if there is some plaque buildup, things get stuck on it. And so cellular waste products, dead cells, metabolic waste, because your body goes through so much metabolic waste every day, but it has an incredible waste system that works perfectly if we let it. So this gets caught on that as well. Calcium deposits get caught on that. Why on earth is there calcium floating through your body? If we have too much acidity in our blood system, your body actually pulls calcium from your bones and joints to try to make your blood acidic. As that calcium is floating through your bloodstream, it too can get caught on fatty substances and create and join that buildup on your artery walls. And fibrin, if you have that, which is the byproduct of animal products, of sugar, and of caffeine. So that's what, under a microscope, the plaque buildup looks like on your artery walls. Friends, is this reversible? Is this fixable? First of all, is this avoidable? 110% it's avoidable. Once it's in there, can it be reversed? Well, what I will tell you is that there isn't a medication on the planet that reverses it. The medication just expands your artery walls. It expands your veins. It tries to slow your heart down from working so hard. Well, that becomes a problem because your heart is trying to work so hard to get the blood going through the body. But then that becomes a problem because it could be a heart attack. So we run into this vicious cycle of, what do we do here? Because the medication is there to try to expand your artery walls so that the blood can get through because there's so much plaque in the way. My solution is, let's just get rid of this plaque and let's stop adding to it, because this thickness of blood is very serious and it's caused by dehydration, high sugar, high stress, too much cooked food, and not enough high water concentration foods. Okay, so it is fixable, but number one, there could be plaque, that's a problem, but there could be thickness of blood, and you could also have a weak heart. And if we have a weak heart, that is the third issue, is having a weak heart. And what I will tell you is that if you have a weak heart, generally, that happens. Remember that your heart is a muscle. So your heart needs protein and it needs lots of calcium. Calcium is needed for every single contraction of your muscle. If your body is being robbed of calcium, and how is it being robbed of calcium? Well, if your blood is constantly in its acidic state and not an alkaline state, your body's pulling calcium from wherever it can get it so that it can make the blood alkaline, because calcium's super alkaline. So that's a major problem. The other thing is that many medications rob you of calcium. That's the truth as well, or it will block calcium. The other issue is that if you are not getting enough exercise and pumping that heart muscle, it becomes very, very weak. Muscles require tons of water. And so, of course, does your blood. So if you're not giving yourself enough water, your heart becomes weak as well. And of course, if your stress is very high, cortisol damages the heart muscles. It damages all muscles, but it really affects the heart. And the reason being is that the pathway of cortisol is through the vagus nerve. It goes from the brain, it goes through the heart, the lungs, and it ends in the stomach. So your heart becomes very, very weak with this passage of cortisol going through it all the time. And eventually you start feeling heart palpitations because that mucosis lining that was covering your heart to protect it from this damaging cortisol or anything damaging it has been eaten away at with cortisol. And now you feel what your heart's really feeling. And we call it an anxiety attack or a panic attack, but the protection barrier on your heart has been damaged. It's so thin, it's been eaten away at. And now when that cortisol passes through your heart or your lungs, you feel it right away now. You have shortness of breath, you feel your heart palpitating. So those aren't new conditions. It's just that you had a buffer before. But years and years and years of stress, you don't have a buffer. But imagine how weak your heart has gotten over time. So it's not just food you're eating. I've met many plant-based eaters that are drinking tons of water, but are going through serious heart conditions because, friends, I will tell you, stress will kill us before bad food does any day. So it's very, very important that we have every area in check. So let's get to the nitty gritty of how we can help heal ourselves. Okay, this is important. Processed food, friends, just stop it. Just get some broccoli, get some lettuce, get some squash, get some sweet potatoes, get some nuts, some seeds, and never eat more than a quarter cup in a day unless you're a very big gentleman. Maybe you can have up to half a cup of nuts a day. Get yourself some quinoa, some millet, some broccoli, some beans. Get yourself some vegetables and fruits and make yourself food. You know, whip together a stir fry. You don't have to be a chef to eat right. But just because we have all these fast food places and now delivery right to your door in office, it doesn't mean it's okay. Look at your bank account. Do me a favor and go into your credit card and go into your bank account and add up for me anywhere UBER comes up or any of the other delivery food programs. I would love you to do that for me and see how much money you would save. We are talking about how expensive groceries are, but I will tell you that apples, bananas, lettuce, cucumber, beans, rice, they are still the cheapest food on the market. Do you know how far cabbage will take you? It will take you really far. And so there's really no excuse except for our time and our discipline. And if you can't put time in to making one big batch of a stir fry so you can eat it for the next 3 days, chop up your salad for a few days, put it in an airtight container, you know, spend some money on some good glass containers that you can put in your fridge that are nicely sealed. Doing that rather than the processed food, because I'm going to tell you, fast food places, 99.9% of them don't care about what oils they're using. If there's vinegar, sugar, MSG in their food, I don't care if it says that it's fresh is in the name or not. It is going to have things that are going to create health issues in your body. And if you're regularly eating them once a week or more, that's regular, it's going to create a problem. Fast food once a week is a problem. So yes, once in a while, you're going to go out for something to eat at a nice restaurant, but this should not be an everyday or an every week situation. And so with that being said, I really want you to think about processed food versus whole food, because as soon as you go to the grocery store, even if you're going to the grocery store, as soon as you take something home that has to be opened out of a package of prepared food, it is compromised. it's compromised. And I'm not talking about opening up a package of beans. If you read the back and it only says beans or it only says rice, you're good to go. But as soon as it has any other ingredients in it, it has been compromised because there needs to be preservatives. There needs to be something in there in order for it to keep that fresh on the shelf. Now, you will notice that all the good restaurants that care about their ingredients are closing up left, right, and center because it's too expensive to provide that at an economical level. But you can do it yourself from home, and it's much cheaper than buying takeout food. So I want you to really think about how much takeout food you are purchasing. And if you're doing it 5 days a week, bring it down to 2 days a week. Pick a day and prepare your food because this is super, super important. I just want you to see this for a minute because if I can just emphasize the whole stress factor, it really, this is our bloodstream back here. It creates adrenaline and cortisol going through that bloodstream. It creates so many issues for your liver, your blood pressure, your heart, your lungs, your vision. So we really, really, really need to try to get stress under control. Friends, there's one more place that high blood pressure comes from that I want to close this seminar with. High blood pressure can also come from a portal vein that comes from your liver. Now, your doctor may not know, or your doctor may not diagnose you with portal vein blood pressure, but that's a real condition. And why would we have this condition? Because through your digestive tract to the liver, there's this incredible portal vein. It's there for a most miraculous reason. But portal vein high blood pressure is a condition that many people have, and they don't even know that they have it. And so you would be able to know this for a couple of reasons, is that if you're having major digestion issues plus high blood pressure, it's very possible that you are having portal vein blood pressure because that means that you're not digesting food properly and you may have a backup at that portal vein. If you have fatty liver or a backed up liver, too many toxins at the liver, it's very possible you could have high blood pressure for other reasons as well, but you can also have a portal vein blood pressure because you have too many toxins at that portal vein. And if you've got a very big stomach, it's very possible if you have high blood pressure that it's coming from that portal vein as well, because now you're storing a lot of fat around your stomach. And wherever there's fat, your body uses that to store toxins. So it's very important that we don't have a big stomach. It's very important we don't have extra unnecessary weight on our body. It's very important that we are taking care of our health. And if you have digestion issues, you need to deal with them as quickly as possible, but understand again that that portal vein that I told you that stress cortisol runs through, that portal vein goes from your lungs, your heart, and it ends in the stomach. So most people with major digestion issues is because they're stressed out because cortisol keeps dumping in the stomach, and now your stomach starts to hurt, ulcers, diverticulitis. It's ultimately from stress. So we need to work on the stress factors and how to manage anxious thoughts and anxiety. You may be just eating poorly. You may truthfully also be having too much inflammatory foods. So the solution here, it's not a quick fix. And if there's one thing I'll tell you, I can get blood sugar down for somebody much quicker than I can get blood pressure down. And the reason being is that blood sugar is usually an issue with diet almost exclusively. But blood pressure, you can see, is so serious. It's eroding away at arteries and veins, or it's doing the opposite and creating too many abrasions in there, which are being covered by plaque band-aids. Or plaque is being caught up in the artery walls. But I can help you change your diet, but I can't turn your stress off. I try to laugh with you and smile as much as I can, but you can eat as well as you want. But if you don't go to bed and get enough, 7 to 9 hours of sleep, or if you're constantly stressed out, you can eat as well as you want, but I cannot bring your blood pressure down to the levels that it needs to be. I can drop it down for sure, but stress is a big factor, and I can help you with that. We have definitely a lot of, we have counselors and people that we work with, but I'm just saying that, you can listen to me and eat what I tell you. But if I say stop stressing, well, how do we turn that button off? It's difficult. But here's the solution. Here's what I want to tell you. Hydration. Okay, so your body weight divided by 2 divided by 8 is how many 8-ounce glasses you need to drink. Okay, and so your weight divided by 2 divided by 8. Wow. I just wanted to make sure that everybody got that. Okay, so your weight divided by 2 divided by 8, and it's in the chat. That's how many 8-ounce glasses you need to be drinking every day. And here's the thing, if your diet consists of mostly cooked food, you don't have big salads and you don't have some fresh fruit in there. And by the way, friends, you might be saying, oh yeah, I have lots of fresh fruit. Well, you need vegetables a lot more than you need fruit. So don't just eat fruit. Have a few fruit in the morning, but if you have high water concentrated fruits, lettuce, cucumbers, celery, these are full of water. This will thin the blood. But do you know what else it will do? Let's move on to more fiber. That portal vein that goes from your digestive tract to your liver, guess what? Fiber is super sticky. So if you have too much cholesterol, if you have that sticky lipids that are in your body, then believe it or not, the sticky fiber attaches to the sticky lipids and pulls it out of your system. But if there's no fiber by that portal vein, your liver can't send the fat there. It's a problem. Then it piles up on the liver or goes back into the bloodstream. So just by adding fiber to your diet, you can start to clean up your system rather quickly. It's really, really incredible. But you must have fiber. And I'm not talking about, some sort of a powdered fiber that you're going to take, or having more bran flakes or bran muffins. That's not the fiber that's super sticky. The fiber that's super sticky comes from all of your green leafy vegetables, your lettuce, your celery, your cucumbers, your radishes. These are sticky fibers. Arugula, these are wonderful fibers. Your apples, your pears. But again, focus more on the vegetables and the fruits, and that will help you in a great way. But the more fiber you have, the more of that cholesterol can come out of your system. Avoid inflammatory foods. So foods that make the blood very acidic, that have high uric acid. We're talking about chicken. We're talking about dairy products. We're talking about beef and pork and things like shrimp and oysters. Very, very highly inflammatory foods. Wheat is highly inflammatory. Cheese is so inflammatory. Remember also that we talked about that even caffeine causes high blood pressure in a very big way. So you want to make sure you're avoiding caffeinated products, sugary substances. Of course, less stress is important. Keeping your liver clean, which I'll talk about on the next slide, less toxic waste, and less cholesterol. Friends, your body produces all the cholesterol that you and I need. So when you eat an animal, you get their cholesterol plus yours, but your body produces all you need. So unless you're running around and you're burning through so much cholesterol because you're a very active person, we are having way too much cholesterol in our system. And you will learn next week that cholesterol is not just coming from your animal products. You would be surprised. So, or maybe you won't be, but find out next week. So here's the thing. I want to show you what your day should really look like, is that we need to have lots of raw, fresh food in our diet. We need to be drinking water. We need big salads every day. You want to be having 2 to 3 cups of fruit. If you're a diabetic, we'll have to do a consultation to tell you which fruit to eat. But you want to be having most of your day, 50% of your day should be made up of fresh food. Before you're going to eat, even if you don't listen to Carolyn, you still want to eat your chicken, have a big salad first. Before you go into your oatmeal or your eggs or chia pudding in the morning, have your fruit first. Between your meals, stop snacking. Stop snacking. Just drink water and only water. Very important. All this fiber, friends, in this salad, that's just going to cure you. It's going to pick up the toxins and the cholesterol that's in your bloodstream. It's going to move your bowels. It's going to thin out your blood because it's mostly water. Plus, it's raw. It's going to give you so many nutrients. Amazing. So for breakfast, you want to have your fruits first and then your buckwheat porridge with some walnuts. But don't put your fruits on top. Make your fruits your main event. Your porridge is next. Between your meals, just drink water. And before you have your main course, have a big salad first. And friends, water, water, water. And in the evening, keep it light. Stop having these heavy meals and going to sleep, because while you're sleeping, your body cannot heal of your high blood pressure issues. Avoid processed food. Avoid too much sugar or refined sugar, period. Alcohol, caffeine. Friends, just because they're available and alcohol's all at our grocery stores now doesn't mean it's good to take it. Doesn't mean it's okay to smoke or use marijuana just because it's legal. There's even places in India, do you know, that marijuana is illegal in many places, but tobacco is actually, there's a few small places in the world that tobacco is illegal. But regardless, is that none of these things, because they're available to us, are actually helpful to our system. May I say something that is like really from my heart? I really think the main issue with society today is that we lack discipline and we just lack self-control. And that's probably the biggest problem in our relationships, in our food, in our health. We can say as much as we want that we don't have time to prepare foods, but it doesn't take that much effort. We lack discipline. We don't know how to manage our time. You have to eat. So let's make choices of how to eat. Let's start planning. Let's be a lot more disciplined than we are, because this doesn't look good 5, 10, 15 years from now if we don't make a change. So in closing here, I want to just give you some of the natural remedy solutions. Beets, guess what, friends? Naturally dilate your blood vessels. Isn't that amazing? So does celery, and so does garlic. Incredible. You know, I get my clients like, your blood pressure's high, throw that garlic in your mouth and start chewing, or boil your garlic in some water and make a garlic tea. Fiber that you will find, like psyllium fiber, is also helpful because it can pull some of the plaque away from your arteries. And these are hawthorn berries. Hawthorn naturally brings blood pressure down, and so does hibiscus, but hawthorn is powerful at doing that. And so you could get a hawthorn tea. We sell it at the store as well. We have a wonderful herbalist that makes it. And here's the other thing. I know I say this all the time, but fasting is so healing. Check with your doctor before you do a fast. But I want to tell you that you can get 15% off. We only advertise 10% on our emails, but you are listening today and we have a good crowd on. And I am going to open this up until Sunday at midnight. And when you fast, let me tell you what happens in your body when you fast. When you fast, your body, after 24 hours of fasting, so you have to go 24 hours. After 24 hours of fasting, your body goes into ketogenic state. And I am not a fan of a ketogenic diet. This is an age-old system that has been used for hundreds, thousands of years. After one day of fasting, your body is forced to use fat for fuel. Why is that wonderful? Because number one, if you have too much weight on your body, you'll lose weight. But even if you don't have too much weight on your body, but you are having some of these issues, your body will begin to use that extra stored fat, those lipids that are floating around in your blood system, making your blood thick. And then eventually it will start attacking the plaque buildup because it's full of fat. So it will start to go for the fat that's easiest to access. And then eventually it will go into your arteries and it will start to eat away at it when you're fasting because it needs more lipids in order to create energy for you. It's an incredible process. There's a reason why God calls us for, I am a Christian and read the Bible, but recommends for us to fast regularly. It's so healing. Now, this is not going to happen on your first fast. But making a lifestyle out of fasting, if you're in a health crisis every 30 days, is incredibly healing. Imagine when you get through all of that main fat, then your body starts going into your arteries and start taking away that plaque buildup. It's reversible, friends. And then you're eating lots of fiber after your fat. So after your fast, so now it's pulling that extra plaque buildup out of your system. You could absolutely cure yourself if you could do things right. So if you would like to get one of our fasts, we give you 1.5 liters of juice per day. We are offering you 15% off. I'm going to put all the information on the screen. You can also order it online. You just have to use the coupon code HBP, high blood pressure, and you can get 15% off your detox. And we deliver almost everywhere within about an hour radius of the Energy Shack. So if you feel like, Carolyn, I need to talk to you because I've got some real issues here. If you would like to talk to me one-on-one, instead of a $110 consultation, it will be $49. Just email me, go on our website. You can absolutely get a detox. You can get a consultation from me. And I would love to set up that one-on-one time. We can do it in person if I'm in Toronto, or we can do it by phone, or we can do it by Zoom. I'm meeting with customers all around the world. So you do not have to leave your home to talk to me, but I do need to do a full assessment of your health so that I can make a recommendation. We have programs designed to reverse high blood pressure. And I have not had a fail in 10 years of bringing people's blood pressure down. So there's lots of hope for you. I also want you to know that we have the herbs and customized detoxes, and maybe you just need a juice. Head over to our location, Whisk Gluten-Free Bakery, and you can get yourself a beet juice. You can order yourself a celery juice if that's what you need. So friends, at this time, you are welcome to throw your questions in the chat. And I know that this was a little bit longer than we anticipated, but this was really good information, I think. Lots of good information. And I'm very, very, very glad that all of you guys are here. So what I would like to do is I am going to go through the questions and answer anybody's questions. But first of all, I am going to pick 3 people. I am going to pick 3 people that are going to be able to come to this cooking class on Sunday. It's this Sunday. And before I do that, I am actually going to stop the recording. So that we can be done with the recording, which is, oh, my screen is so big. There we go. All right, so friends, if you need to get, I'm actually going to put it in the chat right now before I stop this recording. If you do need to get in touch with us, I'm going to put the information here so that if you want to get in touch with the Energy Shack and maybe you do need to leave right now, totally understandable. I'm going to put all of our information in the chat. I am a certified holistic nutritionist. I'm not a naturopathic doctor or a dietitian, so it may or may not be covered under your insurance, but it's always worth checking. But if you would like to meet with me or you would like to get more information, you can reach out. I've put all the information in the chat there, my name, my title, so you can check if it's covered under your benefits. But if not, $49 instead of $110. And that is the phone number of the store. That is the email. That is the website. And I'd love for you to get in touch with us so we can help you on the road to healing. We have retreats, we have events, we have programs. Just stop suffering alone. High blood pressure for the majority of the population is reversible.